Hey traders, Michael from Elite Traders University here. I'm just looking to go long on pound dollar. It looks like we have a bit of basing action here, so just expecting that we might see a bit of a bounce, and I'll be trading up to this resistance region. As you can see, we've had previous problems trying to get through here, and then all of a sudden we had this explosion down. Okay, so this is an area of interest where I'll be looking to start taking out profit. So it's possible that we could get a really quick push up there. So I'm expecting something like this, and I'll be looking to sell in this region and maybe hold one position for the highs if it gets there. However, if we don't, I will lock in a significant amount of profit anyway. So aiming for here, and then up the top with this previous high, and it's also the R1, which is helpful. So let's see how this plays out, and hopefully we get there sooner rather than later. Okay traders, so we had a bit of a pullback. As you can see, a bit of a bounce back to the same level, and notice that we kept the same support, okay, all the way into there. We didn't break through that. That's a really good sign that we're actually going to have a nice pop higher. And now notice that the last swing low that we made, it didn't actually bypass the previous low. See that? It's higher. So when price can't even push below the previous low, that's a really good sign that the sellers don't have a lot of power in this market. So it looks like the buyers are in control. As you can see, we're up 30, 40, 50, 60, about 60 odd pips, just under, and pushing higher, maybe about 16, 17 pips. I'll start to take a few of these out, and then I'll look for higher up into this region here, which is about almost 30 pips away. So we're almost there. Let's look for another 5 or 6 pips to start taking out our first position, and we should get this at the previous swing high. So let's come back in a few minutes, and hopefully we can take out some profit. Okay, slowly starting to spike up into the high. Do really want to see a touch of this high before we start unloading some of these positions. We should be getting there. So yeah, I do expect that to come really close to that. So just going to wait for a little bit longer, and it might take a few more minutes, but I think we'll get there. So let's come back and see shortly. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to close some of these out. And alright, so I've taken out 1, 2, 3, 4, 60 pips, and then we're just going to leave these last positions for higher up. So there we go, breaking through the high now, and we should see a move up into this zone here. So looking for that. If we don't, I'll be pulling up my my stops to underneath this low. So very, very tight risk. So we're in a win-win position, and if we get a sell position up here, I'll be looking to sell this back down based on the larger market structure on the higher time frames. So let's see how these last 3 trades play out. But now we're up 60 pips. We haven't even opened for London yet. We're an hour away from the official London Open. So we're up a bunch of money, and we're in a profitable position. So let's see how this session plays out in the next few hours. Okay, so we had a rejection from that level, and we had a bit of a turnaround on the 1 minute chart, and so actually took out all of my profit up the top here. So there we go, 16, 15, 13, you can see it up here. So from the bottom, took it out at the top, and then I actually shorted again. So I shorted at the top, and we're looking at going lower. So here are my open positions. So I took out about 80 pips going up, and then currently up 30, another 40 pips going back down. So I'm going to take out 4 of these positions at the previous low here, and then I'm going to hold one position for an extended move down if that actually happens. I think the higher time frames confirm that. Like I said, I was looking to sell higher if we moved up here, but I believe that we got an earlier reversal indication, and so that's why I actually shorted right at the top. So you can see where my entries were. Just at the top there above the high, and as it came down I shorted again. So let's wait for price to come down to our low here, and I'll be looking to sell out 4 of these 5 positions. Okay, so just had a strong push down. I think we should get there quickly. As you can see, we're up about 60 pips on these last 2 positions, so let's wait for this push lower. Now I actually think that we're breaking the trend line on the higher time frame. Let's just look at that, because it's possible we could go quite a lot lower. Alright, so you can see that going back to the 1st of November, we've got a 3-week trend line. So as you can see, we rebounded here, and we rebounded here, and notice that we're just coming to that again, and we're breaking down quite strongly now. So if we break through this trend line, first stop is the swing low here, and then I think this is the next place we're going to stop. So looking for a move down. Okay, so we're coming down to the zone here. Let's just remove that. Look, I'm happy with 15. 1, 2, 3. So that's 45 pips. And I'll just leave these last 2 in. And what I'm going to do is just move my stop down above the swing high. So we're in a win-win position. We can't lose. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move my take profit down quite a lot further. So I'm going to look to about here. So looking for a 70 pips lower from my open position. And actually I might just move one down to the bottom here. The pound dollar can move quite a lot in a single day, so easily we could get 130 pips. So I think we're definitely going to stop here. Like I said, this is a very, very strong trend line. It's been building for a long time, and when we break these trend lines, if you look back here, you can see that we had a trend line break in a higher time frame, and look how we had a very, very strong move, very, very quick short squeeze up. It's possible that we could get something similar to that, and I think that this is the most important low here in the middle of this trend line. So let's wait, and we'll come back tomorrow, and now we can't lose. So let's just go back and look at our history. Okay, so there we go. So we've done a whole ton of pips today. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay, we've done quite a few. We had one small scalping loss, but apart from that, there's a lot of pips. So we can't lose now. Let's wait, come back tomorrow, and see how this trade plays out. Okay guys, so there's our big breakdown. Collapsed straight through our trend line, and we now have a 15-minute close, candle close. Oops, so looks like we're going lower. I definitely expect us to come down and hit this area here. So still got our position. We're up over 24 pips at the moment, and we're now in a break-even position. And we've got had a couple more losses from earlier in the day there, and now in a massive amount of pips for the day, which is really, really good. So one last position open, and let's wait for it to cash out. Okay, so we've got another setup to go long and make some healthy pips. It's possible that the downtrend might be slowing for now, and so I've actually gone long again, and I'll be looking to take out the majority of my pips at about plus 15, which is about up in this region, and then I will hold one for longer. So as you can see, number of pips there, so looking for plus 15. My previous stop loss bringing down to break even, and we'll let this play out. Stop just below the low. So let's see how this plays out over the next 20-30 minutes. Okay, so in our long position, the top one is our short. We're up almost 50 pips on our long position, and looking for a move higher. I think we're going to go up there. Notice that we're testing this previous floor. If we break through that, then I think we come up to this region quite quickly. Looking for up here. I could take out another 50 pips right now, but I do think we are going to get a push through. If we actually look at the 15-minute chart, we've got a strong bullish close, so I think we're going to move higher. Let's just wait a few more minutes, another 15 minutes, and see if we get this break up and break through to our take profit level. Okay, so we've broken up through a level. If we get up to 13 pips, I'll start to close these out. There we go. And I'll wait for the last one to push up higher, and then I'm actually going to close that short out. I believe we're going to push it a bit much higher now. Okay, so we will wait for a push up to here for that second to last position, and then wait for the last one, and we'll leave that for higher. Okay, traders, so we had a bit of a fake move down. So we moved up, we bought at the bottom, and moved up, sold out about 4 positions, pushed back down, and bought back in again because I believe the higher time frame says we are actually going higher, and sure enough we're moving up now. So actually expecting a move up to the highs up here with it moving averages in the previous swing high. So I now have 2 more positions open, which are long in this region down here, and I'll be taking one up here, which will be good for close to 30 pips, and then I will be holding one for longer for extend the move higher. Now it's possible we don't get there, but we're in a really great position now. As you can see, over 200 pips for this session. So as you can see, this is today, and so we don't need too much more than that. Okay, so even if the last position gets stopped out, that's not a problem, but I do believe we will get to the high here. So let's wait for that position, and then we'll call it a night. Okay, traders, so we've come back the next morning, and sure enough we were looking at price coming up and hitting this point of resistance here. So originally we bought there, and then we sold the top because we decided it was going back down. Sold it all the way down, bought back in here, pushed up, sold some, it dropped again, bought again, went up, sold a few more, And this point is where we closed off the last session of our video. We got one last push back down, and then we got a massive push higher right up into that resistance space. Okay, so all our pips were taken out, and what happened was price moved back down again, and then ultimately we turned around and went higher. So that's why it's really important, even though we understood that we'd broken a long-term trend line. When you can understand how trends on the lower time frame can shift and change, their dynamic can be quite versatile. You have to really be ready to just move between the two and negotiate, especially if you're scalping, how you can get pips and how you can scalp it into a swing trade. So let's have a look at that 15-minute chart again. So here's the 15-minute chart with the 3-week trend line that we're broken, and as you can see, we broke down strongly, but then we got some signs that this breakdown wasn't going to be immediate, and that's why I started buying, and it pushed back up, and then we see a bit of volatility, and then ultimately we do see that this long-term uptrend has continued, and we're just pushing up into the end of the session today. So it's important to understand how trends begin, how they end, when they turn, their dynamic, and that's how you can actually make pips with very, very low risk in the middle of all of this volatility. So once again, an extremely positive night, 200 plus pips, and this is how we teach you to trade at Elite Traders University. You can actually learn to find these turning points. As you can see, I sold here, I bought here, I bought back down here, and then selling back up in here, and this is possible to do. So have an amazing week, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.